Guys, fire away.
How's it feel to be back?
It feels great. This is my second home, and it's really becoming my first home. So I'm happy to be back.
You left wanting to improve your career and work toward a goal of being a defensive coordinator. Or is this what you envisioned when you left, a chance like this?
I didn't know I was going to come back to Boise State and be a defensive coordinator, so I'm excited about it. It was real easy for me when I got the call from Coach Harsin, because for me, it's all about my family. And so, having my wife from here, she's from here as well. So she had already had our bags packed. I mean, she's ready to go now. She's still up there right now, so she's ready to get here ASAP. So, yeah, happy to be back.
It wasn't difficult at all. I mean, you're at Texas A&M, a school that's competing for national championships and in the SEC. And, was it hard at all to take that offer? I mean, what would you have to weigh?
Coach Sumlin, when he hired me in 12, he called me. He said, I know you want to be he knew my goals, and he said, hey, if you come help me win in the SEC, I will help you become a defensive coordinator. So when I got the call from Coach Harsin, and went in his office, he knew exactly what I wanted to do, And so for me, it's not about, the conference or, the team. It was time for me to become, to do a certain job. And for me, coming back to Boise, a place where I'm comfortable with, where I lived here for a long time, to me was the best chance for me to do that.
How excited are you to run your own defense, and what kind of defense are you going to install?
The style of defense I'm going to install remains to be seen. I will say this: it's going to be physical, tough, disciplined, and we're going to play hard, And so, to me, as far as getting into scheme and all that, I can't say that because I haven't seen the guys we have here yet. And so, once those guys get back and I see what all we have, we'll go from there. But for right now, all I know is discipline, hard work, and toughness.
You spent a lot of time with Coach K, so imagine that transition will be reasonably, not a terribly different, in terms of verbiage and all that kind of stuff for the guys. Or
yeah, it won't be a whole lot of change from him. We work together for a long period of time, and so the things that he teach are a whole lot of things that I teach. But it's just going to be a few things that I may change up a little bit, but same style.
How valuable was that experience going down to Texas A&M and coaching in the SEC for 2 years?
Unbelievable. It helped me out a lot. More so because it made me appreciate Boise State. And so, so many people get hooked up on conference and a school name, and to me, it's all about the process. And so I believe this. I think that the guys that I've worked for have helped me out a lot and shaped me, and going back to Dan Hawkins and, Dirk Cutter and Coach Peterson, and having 2 years under Sumlin has helped me out a lot too. So, for me, the SEC was great. The big thing with the SEC is every game, it feels like a BCS bowl game. You're going into Alabama, you're going into Arkansas, and every feeling is like a BCS atmosphere, but it still comes down to football. I mean, it's still, can you catch, can you run, can you tackle, are you tough, so it's still the same thing. It's just that there may be a little bit more fans at the game, and some more hype around it, but it's still, it's football.
You're known as a great recruiter, and especially in the Texas, New Orleans area down there.
Mm-hmm.
Will you open up new doors, places maybe Boise State hasn't recruited before?
Right. That great recruiter, that wasn't me to call myself a great recruiter, but, I think I'm okay. I think I understand kids, and to me, wherever kids are best fit for what we do, and what we're trying to do here, then we'll go get them from wherever they're at, And so we have a model from the type of kid that we're trying to get to come here, and if that's in Idaho or in Oregon or wherever it may be, then we'll hit those spots.
You're going to be recruiting the same players, same type of players, same quality of players that, now that you were the last 2 years at Texas A&M?
I don't think that changes. So I look at film and I'm looking for a certain type of player. And so for me, if I'm at Texas A&M or at Boise State or wherever, it's a certain type of player you're looking for. And I think that may be the difference with me and other people. I don't never look at what school I'm at and say I can't get the kid, because to me it's about, you want to show him who you are as a coach, and build that personal relationship with that kid. And with help from the other staff members you have, I think that can change, because let's be real, to me, Boise State is a top program in the nation, and so, being at a place where, you're in the SEC and, that's a great conference, but there's other schools and other teams that play good football.
Have you looked at, I know you've been here 1 week or so, but have you had a chance to know what areas on defense that could use help in recruiting, or have any areas you're focusing on in this next month?
I watched some film, and yeah, we kind of have our areas we want to hit. I can't tell you exactly what they are, but we have some kids that we're going after that we feel like can make us, a lot better.
What's your role going to be coaching on defense? You going to still work with the defensive backs, or what do you see yourself doing there?
I'll be all over the place, but I feel sorry for Julius Brown. It's always tough for the guy that takes over what you coach to have that job, and so, I'm sure I'll get on his nerves, because that's the position I've been coached for the last, my whole career. So, I'll get on his nerves, I'm sure, but I'll be all around.
Have you seen any film of this year's Boise State team?
I've watched 6 games thus far.
And what are your areas of concern?
That's tough, and I always tell people it's easy for new coaches to come in and knock the last staff. That's tough for me, because those are my friends, mentors, and so I wasn't here to see what went wrong or what went right. I don't know, so I'm not, I don't want to guess on what I think went wrong. The only thing I can do is focus on what I'm going to do and what our staff is going to do. So, I watch some games, and to me, I had my own problems at A&M, because we weren't very good on defense, so I was thinking about what was going on there. And so, that was the one thing that helped me, was that I thought that being at a place where I always thought as a coach, if a side of the ball wasn't playing well, then they had bad coaches, and that's not always true, because I felt like at A&M we had a good staff, and for some reason we struggled, on defense, and we did everything we could to get those kids, ready to play. So whether it was leadership from players on the team, I don't know what happened the past 2 years, but I don't think this is a bad team at all, and a few of those games could have gone either way.
I was going to ask you, do you like the talent? Do you like the players you have coming back from what you've seen so far?
A few of them are guys that I recruited, so if they aren't good enough, then I need to look in the mirror, because I brought, a few of them in. But, it's all about the process, and how hard they work, the leadership. And, all I can say is I don't know what the last staff, did, but all I know is what we're going to do, and it starts off with discipline, and it goes from there to toughness, and from then on it'll grow.
You know a couple of these coaches, but I think this is the first time you've coached with any of these guys on the defensive staff, correct?
The first time.
Going to be a little different out there, so we get to know each other a little bit in terms of how you coach and what you want to do.
The only one that I don't know about is the D-line coach, Coach Caldwell, Steve Caldwell. But I did my homework. Everybody who I talked to speaks highly of Coach. He gets fired up now, and he's excited. Andy Avalos, obviously when I coached here, he was a player. And the way he played the game, he played the game like how we want our guys to play. So to me, it always correlates to me that the way a guy is as a player is usually how he is as a coach. He expects that from his players. So, he's smart, energetic, he's a good recruiter. And so he's been awesome thus far. And then, like I said, Coach Brown, he's a guy also who I coach, you know, and I know how he's smart, energetic, you know, he's a good recruiter, you know, and once again, he has the toughest job because I'm going to be in that room with him, you know, so.
How much input did you have in the hires on the defensive side?
Coach Harsh and I, we spoke about him them all, so, yeah.
You mentioned that those guys at Washington are your friends and mentors. It seems like they're taking a lot of guys that were maybe committed to this school. When you switch jobs like that, is it fair game? Anybody that you have a relationship recruit-wise, you go back to and maybe try to convince to come to this, or are there any kind of guidelines when it comes to that?
You know, it varies, you know, and so certain guys do things certain ways. I mean, you know, I'm getting that same knock, you know, at certain schools, and so, you know, when it's all said and done, this game comes down to winning, you know, and you need to win, you know, so you have to get kids in school, they have to get good grades, and you need to win, and so if they feel like doing that fits them, then to me it's up to us to stop them from getting those players. So.
How complicated it is coming in this late? And, you know, as Coach Arson said, you guys have a week less now to talk with recruits or go out and see them or whatnot. And, you know, everybody a lot of people might assume that, you know, you just offer out all the scholarships that the guys that the previous staff had. But I'm assuming that probably isn't the case. You guys try to do your own evaluation as quickly as you can, or how does that work?
First you start, what you do is you go back, you watch all the guys that they're recruiting, and you see if they're a fit for what you're trying to do. And if they are, then you keep those guys, you know, going. And then we all kind of have our own guys who we were recruiting at our other places, you know, and see if those guys fit, you know, you know, and your team. So we have some guys that we have in place, and, you know, we'll see if they are in or not. Jump in a boat.
When Pete got Quickhouse, got the coordinator job a couple of years or a few years ago here, were you at all applying for that job, hoping for that job, or was it sort of assumed that he was sort of the next guy in line at that point? Or
he was the next guy in line, you know, and you know, I got asked that question, you know, when it happened, and you know, to me, when it's supposed to happen, you know, it happens, and you know, I think two guys get into the whole I want the credit for being a coordinator or whatever, instead of just looking at the big picture, which is if you just win, then everybody ends up getting to where they want to be, I believe. And so for me, I always thought that when it was time for me to be a, you know, a coordinator, I would get the call from somebody who wanted to be their, you know, have me as their defensive coordinator. But I wasn't bitter, you know. Coach K gave me my first job, you know, and he taught me a lot. So how could I be mad that he was a defensive coordinator when he was the first guy to give me, you know, a job? And so we're very close, you know, and there is no hard feelings towards Coach K at all, zero.
As entrenched as he was here, was that part of what made you think you were going to have to go somewhere else to get that opportunity eventually? No,
that wasn't it. It was just time for me. I've been here for 9 years, and I was excited to go to the SEC, you know, and play. At the time, everybody said the SEC was the best conference, you know, and so I was excited to go, you know, and see what the SEC was all about, you know, and which was great. But going to the SEC now and going to A&M, as you get older and you grow, you figure out what becomes important to you. And to me, it was, you know, my family and being in a city that they like to live in and still have a chance to play some good football.
You were on the first Chris Peterson's staff, and obviously that staff has turned out to be really well put together. Those guys have gone on to some big things. When you look at this staff, do you get any feelings? Does it feel like that 06 staff at all in the way with some young coordinators and a young first-time, you know, young head coach and things like that?
I hope it ends up like that 06 staff. I can only hope that because that season went pretty well. You don't know. You know, we don't know how it's going to gel. You know, and that crew, we had some seniors there that were pretty special. Now, if you go back and look at that, you know, some guys that we had on that team now, it's a few of those guys that's playing on Sundays. And so, you know, like I said, I don't know exactly what we have right now as far as on our team. On film, I've seen them, but I haven't seen them live. And until I see those guys on the field, you know, I don't have a feel to answer that question for you on this team this year.
Who did you recruit? You mention some of these guys who are still here.
Dante Dion, Jeremy Iwane, Darian Thompson, Bryant Douglas, Corey Bell, Tyler Horn was on that team when I was still here. And I'm not saying that I recruited them personally, but they were here when I was here on the staff.
Coach was talking about how, as far as recruiting goes, you and Coach Sanford, you don't have to read off the paper and to say things about Boise State. I mean, you have personal experiences here as
Right.
a player and things like that. How is that going to help you guys? And do you think that some of you guys that are former players here and that are on the staff, how does that help recruiting wise?
It makes it easy for you because now you're sitting in front of a kid and his and his parents. You're speaking from the heart, so you're not lying about him. You're not reading from a book or a printout. For me, I can say I played here. I played here for 5 years and then I coached here also. And so if you think about it, I left LA when I was 18 years old and I lived here for 14 years. And so any recruit that I feel like asks me, well, how's the city of Boise? I can just say, hey, man, I live here for a long time in my life.
You feel like that is, you said that, your goal is to relate with your players, whether what school you're at or how many stars or whatever they have. I mean, how beneficial is that to you when you go out and recruit these guys?
Very beneficial, and that's probably the one thing I learned from Coach Sumlin. Is he was definitely a player's coach. He knew how to relate to those guys, and talk to them, but at the same time he understood when it was time to get to work. But like I said, playing here, and then and here as a coach was easy for me to kind of not necessarily sell the program because I don't think I need to sell it, but to tell them exactly how it is.
How old are your kids, Marcel?
18 and 5. 18, my son, and my daughter's 5.
Daughter remember Boise much?
She does. My wife just sent me a picture, a drawing she just drew, Buster the Bronco. Seriously, it's on my phone. She just drew Buster the Bronco.
Just curious, did you follow Coach Arson's hiring process much? And did you anticipate maybe a phone call or that he might reach out to you once all that went down?
I did not.
Yeah.
Right. I knew he was kind of in on it. I was hoping for him to get it, but I didn't know if he was going to call me or not. I'm glad he did.
You didn't reach out to him or anything and say he came to you?
Yeah, I didn't.
Marcel, you're pretty locked into Southern California as a recruiting area when you were here. Are you going to kind of gravitate back there, or is Texas and Louisiana still going to be a base of operation, or both?
Southern Cal will be my area, but we'll still hit all those places. Wherever the players are, you can go get the players. To kind of fit your mold.
A lot in Southern California.
Yeah, a lot. That was a good thing about me. As soon as it was announced that I was coming, I got more phone calls from coaches in the LA area. With recruits who were ready to, in the boat, because that's where I've been at. For half of my career. So that's an area that I know pretty well. I played at as well. So, hope to get in there and get as many of them we can from that area.
Been a positive reaction so far from some of those guys?
Positive, yes, sir.
How much have you been able to do with just the one phone call a week or whatever? I mean, do you feel like you got a decent feel for what to expect when you get on the road here in a couple of weeks? Or?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.